Hi, Jill. Oh my goodness, it's so good to catch up. Actually, how long ago? Can you remember when you coached with me? It was a while ago,
Oh
hey?
gosh, so I started 2 years. Yeah, it's 2.5 years. So when we originally started the program. So
Okay.
yeah.
My goodness. Okay, so team, thank you, Jill, for coming back after such a long time. I know we've caught up with each other in between time, but just for the sake of this lovely YouTube channel and for people to be able to know who you are and what you get up to, or where you are in life, or what you're up to, can you just introduce yourself and just say who you are, what you're up to, and maybe how you met me, because our story is actually quite unique.
It is, isn't it? Gosh, I'm a mother of two, married to a wonderful man, live in Havelock, moved over from the UK years and years ago, but so I've probably been in New Zealand longer than was in the UK now actually. We've touched base on and off over the years in various different roles, personal things, whatever. And then I was going through a really hard time. I'd been I think gaslighting is quite well known, that as a term now, and my boss had been gaslighting me for weeks, in a very intense period. And I think I bumped into you in a cafe and you were saying, I'm doing this, and I thought, synchronicity, I need to talk to you. So that's what we did, caught up.
My goodness, I'd forgotten that.
No, it was
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. It was a number 5 cafe.
That's
I can
it.
even picture exactly where we
Yeah.
were. That's so funny.
Yeah.
And so we must have caught up for coffee ourselves or done something to catch up. Can you remember why you thought, oh, actually, where were you? How were you feeling? Obviously, if you've been gaslighted, you weren't feeling brilliant.
I was very, very low. So, I mean, people would look at me and go, oh, she's confident, extroverted, blah, blah. But I was at such a low point. There was, I wouldn't say depression, but very close to it. And it was beginning to actually being able to face going out. And I think you've always been such an amazingly positive person, and out there, that it was like, you talked about the program, you explained what was going, what you were wanting to achieve, and I thought, okay, I need this at this precise moment in time. Hey, the universe has sent you across my path, so let's go for it.
And it's quite cool to see. So the problem was, I'm guessing, what was your problem at that point? Was it you just didn't know where to go? You just felt so, what was it at that point in time? Because we had to deliver on something. What was the solution you were looking for?
So I was feeling like completely with the roles I'd had, and it was like, that's it. My confidence had taken an absolute smashing. So I can't do that. What can I do? What is going to actually take me forward? Because I was in such a dither and 2 minds or 3 minds, or however many minds, 3 o'clock in the morning, you probably get 10. And so it was like I had no clarity. It was very murky, and I needed someone to help me through that mud.
I love it because that's so where people are often. It's just confusing. You know that you're gifted. In your heart of hearts, you knew you had something to offer. You knew that who you were in that moment isn't who you really were. But you were like, oh my goodness, where do I just get hold of this stuff and make it work? So by the time what did we work through that helped you get to where you were to be able to, and did we find clarity for you?
We did, because I can remember working through, I don't know what the questions or anything, cool. but when you're trying to find out the careers that would most suit you, and the careers that most suited me were actually the career I was in already, and then leaning towards like the development of people, the coaching. And so it was really around people. And it's like, okay, so I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
Tick. Okay, so now we work through the values and my value set, which is really strong. And okay, so let's reaffirm those. Tick. And then started that's when it all started really slotting in together. So, yeah. But through that process, it was that whole confidence building and that reaffirmation of who I am, which is what I needed at the time. It was like, okay, it had been very much destroyed, and you helped me build that back.
Oh, bless you. I love my job.
And we did have a few tears for something during that process.
Oh my goodness. And the last poor lady that I've just interviewed has been in tears in this room today, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But it's the realness. It's the realness of, instead of being surface level, everything's fine, everything looks good, la 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 la. It's the realness. And when we get to the tears, we actually get to the root. But what's beautiful is those tears don't last.
No.
Because what we do is we take out what is painful and what is not okay and what doesn't belong with you. And we go, okay, we acknowledge that that's painful, but let's just relook at it. Let's just reframe it. Let's just actually look at it for what it is now. And I think you're right, for so many, it just clears the decks. It clears the decks of things that are unhelpful and says, oi, out you go. Thank you. Goodbye. You and I like this. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Do you remember Anne Robinson? She's so cool. I might have to put that in this clip. Nikki, we might have to find Anne Robinson. She's flipping awesome. But that's what we do. We go, no.
It's not serving you.
Yeah.
Is it serving you? Yes, no. No, off you go. Yes, let's work on it.
I love that. Nikki, that's my piece of gold for that. Is it serving you? Yes. If it's not, out you go. I love that. That's gold. Thank you. And so I guess that you came in feeling destroyed, or you just particularly low, whatever the score was. How did you go out? When we said, right, we've nailed it, we've done it, where were you feeling then?
So I wasn't trying to, I mean, I think I'd started. I'd got the job, I'd got the right role for me at that time.
Yeah.
More about that later. And like developing the home environment that was also good for me to go my little, retreat, but also good to invite friends into and for the family. So it was really important. So it's that whole balance, and that is what's really important. We just didn't focus on one aspect. It was the whole.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because I'm seeing in everyone I'm catching up with, I'm seeing the same flavour. And often I think in the world and in life things happen to us and we get on the treadmill and it's almost like the work or the money becomes number one.
Yeah.
And when people have, and I love this because your story's awesome, but when we put things back into alignment in what's really important, so our families and our marriages and our friends and our lifestyle, we live, we work to live, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
And once you started to get that in order, along with your values, along with working for the company, and I'd forgotten actually that you literally got the job or the job offer, you were going through that while we were still coaching. And so that was your first step, because you knew that this company was the right culture, and it was more important for you to have the right culture around you, because you knew then that you would just go from strength to strength. And that ultimately was, you went out of where you were, you started with this new company, and I'm guessing, as you say, you were happy. Things were working right at home, you got your priorities in the right order.
Absolutely.
Job done, tick the box.
I had my 2 years getting everything sorted and stable, and other things happening and opportunities coming my way, and now, I have a different role where I'm travelling, but home is fine, it's stable. My son has had the most amazing year. I mean, would he have had that if I was in a space? Probably not. I don't know, but I think everything tends to link up and flow through, and you know, we're all just,
You're all living your dreams.
we're all actually being not successful, we're all being, I don't know what the word is, in our own little, what we're doing is giving us individually joy and together, feel me? Because we're all being happy in what we do, and we're all satisfied with what we do, and so that helps all of us.
Yeah. And I love that, because when Jill first came in and before we started recording, we were just talking about, so come on, what's happening? And and you know, my husband's doing this and my son's just done that, and he's just had the most incredible opportunity and blossomed. And I remember looking back, and because you had been, you know, things hadn't been amazing, everything gets affected by that. When we're unhappy, you know, hurt people, healed people, heal people. And I just...
But it ripples out.
Yeah, it does.
It ripples out, and, you know, hurt ripples out, but so does when you're in flow, that ripples out too. And, you know, other people always pick up on the mother or the, you know, it's just what happens. So, no, it's been awesome.
And so I suppose as a kind of, so since you finished coaching, have you continued to go from strength to strength? We've sort of covered that a little bit, but, or did the journey finish there? Did you go, okay, right, that's it, I've done my training and I've cut off there? Or, go on, no.
So after I'd done the coaching with you and I joined the company, and the part of the deal with the company was they were to put me through a coaching course. So I became a certified transformational coach, which was another step in the journey.
Yep.
To learn the skills that I needed for that particular role. I then got nominated by the company to go on their first cohort of a 9-month leadership program, which was just fantastic, learning a whole load more. And so as a result of that, I have moved into another role where I'm learning a whole load more skills. So, like I said to you earlier, it's like a jigsaw puzzle, and all the pieces float around, and then they come together. And then you add to them, and you add, and you keep adding. You've got to keep learning, never stop. Be curious, learn. You learn every day. If I wasn't learning, it'd be horrible. I'd be dead, probably.
So, I love it.
But then again, you might be learning on the other side, so you don't know.
Well, there's all of that. That's a whole nother ball game for another conversation for another day. But it's wonderful. It's like, I see, and I could be wrong, where you'd almost got stuck. Like you'd got yourself either into a hole or you'd got stuck. And now you've been released, like you were released from that, and you've gone, okay, next thing, and like you've just embraced everything. And to be fair, what people don't know is I met you probably 10 to 15 years ago, back in my Project K days.
Gosh, it's that long.
I know, well, however long it was.
Scary.
But the woman I see in front of me now is just an upgraded version of that amazing lady that I met back in the day. You've just gone from strength to strength. So when I saw you in the cafe that day and we had that chat, I knew that wasn't you. And so I suppose one of the things that for people who might be sitting where you were, what was it, if you were to describe to them, so if you were to speak to the Jill that was in that situation, and we know it was temporary, we know it wasn't who you were, but you felt very differently from how you feel now, what advice would you give to them?
I would say have the courage to take that step of faith. It's not a leap, it's just that step into what could be quite scary. Learning about yourself, or more about yourself for some people, is really confronting and really quite scary. So, but for me, the more I know about myself, how much more can I give? So don't hesitate just take that step. Have the courage, have the faith. And one thing I wrote in my bit of paper that you've taken away from me is what... God,
Join a piece of paper.
No, is, you know, at every step of the way, you weren't doing it for me, but you were alongside me. And that unwavering, so like positivity, empathy, not sympathy, empathy, you know, encouragement, objectivity, because you could see things that I couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, it was just, that's what I needed. Somebody who could just walk alongside me and go, but what about this? And no, you can do this, and just be really positive. So, you know, just do it.
Oh, bless. Bless. And that's lovely. Thank you, Jill. And I think you're right. I think and I'm not necessarily the answer for everybody. I know that. But I am the firecracker that will walk along.
That's a good word.
Firecracker.
Firecracker.
Because I do. It's like that. Sometimes we just need that bit of energy or that oomph to just shift us out of whatever it is that we're in that doesn't belong to us. But we've ended up in that space.
You know you're there, and you know it's not sitting right with you, and you know that, you know, the universe or whatever is trying to tell you something. You just got to listen.
Yeah.
And have yourself, because I mean, I am a firm believer, if you don't deal with it and you don't get rid of all the stuff that's holding you back, then the opportunities they're not going to present themselves, because you have to deal with that before.
Yeah.
You know, and there are opportunities out there for everyone. Nothing is impossible.
Because you know what impossible stands for? I'm possible.
Boom!
Boom! So on that note, Jill, thank you so much for coming to join me today. It's been a joy to catch up with you. And I hope you will join us at conference or at our event in February, where we'll see more of what is to come.
That'd be cool.